Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Powerhouse podcast. I have to tell you that I am super excited with my Powerhouse guest for today. She is absolutely one of the most amazing people I know, and she is a force to be reckoned with. Also, one of the most heart-centered individuals I know. And so before we get started and I tell you more of why I'm excited to have her in the ring with me today to go a few rounds, let me just welcome my dear friend, Katrina Sawa, to the table. I love you. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Awesome. So as you guys know, this is our opportunity to have the deep, courageous, connected conversation. This is a space for us to talk about leading with love, from love, and knowing that leadership is a choice. It's all about how you choose to show up, how you choose to serve others, and how you choose to take personal responsibility in that space. We have the big conversations. We don't do the surface stuff here. So get ready as we dig deep with Katrina in just a moment. Before we get started, though, let me tell you about why she's a powerhouse. Jumpstart Your Business coach, Katrina Sawa, kicks her clients and their businesses into high gear. She is a soul sister in terms of kicking people in the butt when they need it, turning their inspiration and ideas into smooth-running, money-making businesses. Who does not want to make more money? Katrina is the creator of Jumpstart Your Marketing and Sales System, award-winning coach and author of Love Yourself Successful. With 31 years experience in sales, marketing, and business, Katrina inspires, motivates, and educates entrepreneurs in her annual events, virtual trainings, free webinars, and one-on-one coaching. She loves helping entrepreneurs develop leverage strategies, market and monetize more, plus teach the how-to of what you need to grow your business fast. Katrina is an energetic speaker who has been featured on the Oprah and Friends XM radio network, ABC, and the CW. She has received a Business of the Year award by her local chamber, and she is awarded the National Collaborator of the Year award by Public Speakers Association in 2016. Among amazing list of accolades and other things that this woman has done. Again, welcome to the show, Katrina.
Thanks, Candy. I'm so excited because you are a powerhouse. Oh, I love your show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And so, Katrina, talk a little bit about what you do when you talk about helping people really monetize and kind of do that kick, and I like to call it the boot in the butt, but the kick in the ass, whatever you want to call it, that helps them propel forward, that helps them get out of their own way. What does that really mean, and what does that look like for you?
Well, I do it with love, first of all.
Yeah, gotta have some love, right?
I had a call with a gal yesterday. She was new to me, and she's like, well, I think you're probably what I need. I'm like, don't worry, honey. I do it with love. It's all good. And, it's looking at the big picture from the bird's eye view all the way down to the nitty gritty. And a lot of other coaches, you do this, but a lot of coaches don't do that.
Right.
They focus in on one area, and they tell you what to do in that one area. And that could be very helpful. And that's great to get that kind of advice. I'm in that space now in my business where I get that kind of advice now. Mm-hmm. But it's when you're in the first 5 years of your business, which are the majority of my clients, not all of them, but the majority of them are really newer. And you have to look at everything. You have to look at everything that you want to do, what you want to be doing 10 years from now, so that we can design the business around the kind of life you want to live starting now. Mm-hmm. So you don't get overwhelmed and burn out. So it's looking at every little nook and cranny, finding those holes and opportunities.
Yeah. And there's two things that I really want to kind of go into. First of all, it's that whole space that you do say, and I know we were kind of playing with that, but there is some real depth and truth to the fact that, there is the opportunity to give that kind of push, to give that kick, but to do it with love. And we've talked about that sometimes on the show and space of, it's that space of being on the diving board with someone who keeps saying they want to jump in. And instead of being the person on the sidelines going, I believe in you, I know you can do it, we're the people with the hand on the back that says, look, I'm going to put your butt in the water, and then I'm going to jump in and go the laps with you, right? It's that space of I'm going to love you through the process and the systems. And so I love that you talk about you do this with love, because I think that that's such an important component, and there's not enough of that making business personal for people when they get in that space. The other thing is, I know you are like the systems queen, and you talk about this space around designing their business. So what is the biggest challenges you see for most people, especially when you're working with more of those newer startup entrepreneurs that might be within the first 10 years of their business? What is the biggest hurdle or the biggest challenge that most of those individuals have to face and get honest with in order to move forward to really embrace that idea of designing their business for their lifestyle?
Well, it's two things. I think one is the mindset around their pricing and putting themselves out there at a certain level because they think they're new. They should have new pricing, new person pricing. Well, you don't always have to. Sometimes people have master's degrees and 18 years experience in whatever they're doing. And then they just go out on their own and they think, oh, I'm a new person. I'm going to be less expensive. No, you're just as capable as the person that's been doing this in your space for 10 years. So it's that mindset around the value of what you provide is the one thing that stops a lot of people from doing more and being more in their business. And then the second thing is probably understanding the value of putting those systems into place. They don't realize how much it takes to run a profitable, sustainable business as an entrepreneur. They don't realize yet how much it takes. And it doesn't necessarily have to take a lot of money, but it takes a lot of time and effort and you wear a lot of hats, right? So putting the systems in place, whether it's technology or the right website, it doesn't have to be that expensive, mind you, but you have to understand and put the right things in place so that you don't have to work so hard. People work too hard in the beginning because they think they have to figure it out themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm curious. I want to go back because I heard like the business buzzword bingo kind of phrases, right? That people are like, yeah, I get it. And I'm going to say that most people don't. So I would love to know how you define profitable and sustainable. Because I think there is a misconception, especially with startup entrepreneurs, of what really constitutes being profitable in your business and how you're creating systems that are sustainable. So I would love to play with that a little bit and see how you define it. Because I think it's, for me, there's too many people that say it and I'm like, okay, bingo. I just got,
Well, that's a great question because I've never actually defined it. I say it different all the time, probably at my live events and in my coaching. I don't know how I say it all the time. So let me think. Okay. So profitable, first of all, you're not profitable if you're just barely paying your bills. That's not profitable. That's barely surviving. And that's still stressed out about making the next sale. Okay. So that is not profitable. It might be profitable. It might be profitable technically. Okay. Like you're making a profit, but it's not comfortable. It's not, it's not sustainable without a lot of hard work. What we need to do is we need to get to a place to where we're almost double that. So there's what I call a need number. What's the need number that you need to make every month in your business? That's so you don't have to pull money out of savings. You don't have to charge a bunch of stuff on credit cards. You can make enough to pay your bills and not stress out because you know it's coming in. Okay, so that's the need number. Most people don't consider all the factors they need to invest in and pay for in their business to put in their need number. So most people say, well, I just need $3,000 or I just need $5,000. But then they don't consider having an assistant or having a coach or getting a training program or going to live events or traveling along the country to speak at events, being the lead generation tool that they need. So when you put all those factors in, because that's what makes a sustainable business, is having a lot of different pieces of the pie in there. When you put the cost of doing those things into your need number usually doubles. Okay. So at least add another $1,000, $2,000 a month. And so people don't think like that. When I give them that kind of a wake up call, then they're like, oh, okay. So then they raise their need number. So then their money goal becomes higher. And then when their money goal becomes higher, then they can see, okay, maybe now I need to charge more because either I need to sell 30 of these things or 3 of these things. Which one do you want to do? I think I'd rather sell 3 of something for $3,000.
People don't understand that it's actually easier, and I would love your perspective on easier to sell the higher ticket items than it is going out and trying to get 30 of the lower end items. I find it's so much easier to convert to big ticket items.
People don't believe it, but it's just as easy. I say it's just as easy to sell a $3,000 thing as a $300 thing as a $30 thing,
right? Because
you're still going to get the pushback of, I can't afford it, believe it or not, at $30. But it's not usually the excuse. So as far as profitability goes, if you're just at that need number and you're at the elevated need number, that's not necessarily profitable, because you can't really walk away from your business unless you have a lot of systems in place to keep that money coming in, which most people don't. So you can't really walk away, take a vacation, or have downtime in case someone's sick or ill and you have to take care of them, right? Or yourself, whatever. So really we have to get to that want number. So the want number is typically about double of the need number. And actually I found for myself that my need number now is so high, it's most people's want numbers, right? But the more you get into your business, the longer you have it. I mean, my team costs me about $4,000 a month. And that's not even that much compared to some people. And they're not even full-time employees. They're not employees at all. They're independent contractors, but $4,000 a month is just for my team. And actually, it's probably more than that, because I just hired a Facebook team. So it's probably more like $5,000 a month plus ad spend is what I spend on team and that kind of thing. But I didn't do that in the beginning, right? So first, know your need number. Make sure you put in all the components that you need to. But then know that once you get there, you're probably going to need to double in order to really be more profitable, to where you can take chunks of money and invest it in other things so that your money can make you money. Because when you're profitable is when your money's making you money, right?
Love that.
So, I mean, whether it's real estate or the stocks or some other investment that you're going to do to put your money making money. I mean, we can't work until we're dead, right? So, I mean, we can. Some people do, but but what if you live until you're 100? I mean, I don't know if I want to be coaching people at 99 years old. You know, at some point, I might want to stop.
Right. You want the option is what you want.
Oh, the option to stop. Yes. So, but your business can always evolve too. Mm-hmm. So you don't always have to do it like you do now. So if I'm coaching a lot of people, I have 34 clients or whatever right now, right? If I have 34 clients right now, I'm certainly not going to want 34 clients at age 65 or 70. You know, I might want 3 or 2 or something like that at a really nice price point. And then the rest can be more, it could just be in a different business model if I'm still working, right? If I'm still doing stuff. Because when we're doing our work that you and I do, and hopefully everybody that's listening, it's not work, it's play.
Right.
You know?
Right. And you want the option and the availability to open up new possibilities to say, do I want to keep playing in this sandbox right now? Or do I want to go create sandcastles in another one and dance in different spaces and do different things? And so to have that kind of cash flow, both residual and what's coming in those bigger sums, that is allowing your business. And I love the way that you kind of summarize that to say profitability is when your business is making money. So when you're putting money into your business, it's making money in your business, and you can pull yourself out or not, and your business is still generating that cash, which is, you know, a powerful thing. And people, it is that space of people work so hard up front and they get so, and then they create this habit where they're working 80 to 100 hours a week, you know, 5 years out, 10 years out, whatever. And they feel like now they're all consumed with their business and they're still not living the lifestyle they want. And so I think getting clear on that need number, which I will say I've gone through those exercises myself throughout my career. It's interesting because you do look at the first pass of need going, okay, it's just my bills. When you don't think about it, it's all the investments you need to do. And especially when you're building your business, some of that travel, some of those things are not reimbursed back to you. How do you get in a space to say, if I'm going to open up bigger channels and bigger access, how am I going to bring that in? And then putting the want number. It's amazing because people are shocked when I'm like, look, this is my number for a month minimum. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, that's not to just make ends meet. That's so that I can live the lifestyle I want and make sure everything's taken care of and have that peace and have more white space than I've ever had on my calendar, which is, I think, the shocking part, because people will say constantly, Candy, you're so busy. And I'm like, no, I'm highly productive. And I've never had more white space. I just took 2 weeks. I did a training for one of my corporate gigs. I did another workshop, but I spent a tremendous amount of time with my mom. I drove with the dog. I took our time. I took another day up there because I have the white space. I've never had so much free time in my life, and it's beautiful. Yet my output has got a higher return. And it's in that sustainable model, which is allowing me to do things. I mean, one of my favorite things, and I know you feel this, when you get the message on a Sunday that says you just got cash and you're like, oh, what was I selling? I didn't even know that was. I mean, I've had things where people have purchased that I didn't realize that was still an option out there. I'm like, God, I love when my business just makes money and I'm sleeping, right?
Yeah.
So it's that opportunity. So I'm curious because this is a space where I think a lot of people get hung up. And you talk about one of the first steps is helping people around their mindset in terms of their value. And the fact that 99.9, and I'm making up a statistic, but I would probably gather it's true, 99.9% of people that start a business undervalue and undersell their services and products. I know I even got caught up in it myself. You get caught up in that fear. What are some of the biggest money stories or the biggest hangups you have experienced that is where people have really convinced themselves that they can't step forward in owning that value? Because I feel like sometimes that's a fight. I feel like that's a big boulder to push uphill sometimes.
Right. Well, the biggest excuses that I hear, or head trash that I hear, is, oh, there's other people in my space that have been doing it longer, so I can't compete, or or they've been doing it they've just been doing it longer, so I'm just starting, or I don't have the training. I don't know, if they're, especially in the coaching world, this is funny. Like, people come from academia or corporate, and they're highly educated people, and they start their own business thinking, oh, I have to go get a certification, or I have to go get this extra whatever. And I'm like, no, you don't. You're smart enough. You know exactly what to do. We just need to format it and give you the confidence to know that you can go do the thing that you want to do. You don't need a certification. Some people do, but a lot of times they grab at these things that they think they need when they don't. And that feeds their confidence, which is fine if you have time to do that. But if you need to make money now, you don't have time to go take a 6-month certification program before you start making money, So that's one of the biggest mistakes I see people make, is they need to make money today. Let me go pay $5,000 for a certification program.
Right.
It's going to get me more skills. Then they still don't know how to get clients. They don't know how to make money. And I'm like, stop, no, put that off. Let's get you some money today doing what you can do now, and then start getting some residual income and getting some money coming in. And then if you want to hone your skills later, do that later. But
that is so powerful. And I want to sit on that for just a minute. I get so many people. First of all, there's too many people that have analysis paralysis. They think they need all this research, all these things. And it's like, no, you need to get off your butt and take action. And then there's this whole, well, I need all my ducks in a row. Yeah. I need to have all this. No, somebody needs you right now.
Shoot the ducks. Shoot the freaking ducks. Shoot the freaking ducks. Get them out of the way and move on. Get in the boat and freaking get to the other side of the river.
Did I tell you why I love her? She's like I said, get off the damn diving board. Stop saying, well, can I jump? Can I dive? You know how to swim.
I wonder which dive I should do. I wonder how I should jump. Should I jump forward, backwards, sideways? Right. Just freaking go.
Yes, and if you belly flop, guess what? It will sting a little, and you will recover, and you will be fine. Right? I mean, the analogies, it's true. Shoot the stupid duck.
Oh my
Stop
God.
letting all these beliefs and perceptions get in the way. And I feel like so many people hold themselves back. And it's that space of intention without action is nothing more than lip service. And people keep saying, well, someday I'm going to. And, Katrina is really clear about just take action, get the momentum moving forward. Do something that starts to generate money before you start worrying about all these other pieces. Yeah. And I know that is so powerful, because that analysis paralysis is stopping people from getting momentum. And the thing is get money coming in. There are investments you need to make sure when you start. And then there's You need to actually start generating capital before you can keep investing. And I find people just keep spending money and spending money and spending money. And I'm like, and then they have that fear of, well, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. Stop spending money. Go make money instead.
Well, and I will say something to that point, because they will spend money and spend money and spend money on inexpensive things or programs or do-it-yourself things that still aren't the thing that they really need. Right. And so, yes, in those instances, they do need to continue spending money because they were cheap ass in the first place and didn't hire a coach. Right. I mean, and it's not to say you're cheap, but it's like people gravitate towards, well, let me spend the least amount of money in my
for the silver bullet, right?
Professional development or my training around running a business, because they don't look at it as a serious thing. If you want to become a nurse, you're not just going to go walk into a hospital and start poking people with needles to take their blood. You're going to nursing school, people. You're going to invest in nursing school for many years. You're going to spend thousands of dollars to learn that craft and that skill. And then you're going to go apply for a job, right? Yeah. In whatever hospital you want to work in. But and an attorney, you want to be an attorney, you can't just walk into a courtroom and start trying a case, right? They'll throw you right out on your butt. Right? So you have to go to law school. You have to spend thousands of dollars learning your skill. But people will print a freaking business card and put up a website on Wix and say, I'm a business owner and you should hire me. And they don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, stop it, people. You need a degree in entrepreneurialism these days. There's too much to know. There's technology, there's social media, there's the internet stuff. All of that is foreign to most people. That alone, okay? Setting up yourself like that. So you have to invest in the right things to set yourself up for the foundation of your business, the sales and marketing of your business. And if you don't do that up front, you still need to do that. Right. You may not make money before you need to invest more if you do it out of order of importance.
Well, and that is absolutely a critical point on a couple of levels. One, it's the space of knowing what to invest in. It's not that you're not going to make investments, but you do get, and for anyone that's gone out and bought the cheap plastic, whatever, versus the quality product, knows that what you pay for is what you get back. And so there is an energy. First of all, there's just an energy about what you're willing to put out, your beliefs about money. I just heard something recently from Joe Vitale, who was talking about, look, the more money I spend, the more money I receive. And you have to change that thought around what an investment really looks like. And it's interesting because a lot of people, I do a lot of work around ROI, and most people think it's a money in versus money out game. The least amount no, it's a function of time, money, energy, resources, people, culture, lifestyle. All of those are part of the ROI equation. Yes. And so what I really want to dig into for just a moment, because I think we're so hitting on something that's absolutely critical. It is the fact that most business owners, and I say this with a lot of love and respect, most business owners have a craft, have a skill, have a gift, but they don't know how to spell business, let alone actually take the implementation, the strategies, and the right investments to move it forward. That's not their forte. Business is not their forte. Their product, their service, their service, their offering, their value is what their gift is. Yes. Business is what they need, is the system and the framework around it to make that actually a monetizable, if that's a word, I'll make up words, I don't care, monetizable entity that can be something that they could create a lifestyle from. The 100%. Business is, to your point, you need a degree in some sense, or you need to invest in the right places. And so really want to ask the question right now, how then do you, and I have some ways that I teach people, but I would love your philosophy on this. How do you know if something's the right investment for you? If there are some ways to ask the right questions, or there's some ways to kind of synthesize and process to say, how do I even know if this is the right investment for me or not? What are the questions I should be asking?
Well, that's a hard question to answer, because each business owner is in a different space, right? And so each one of them might need a different thing. And depending on your goals, and if you need to make money today, or if you're okay for money for a few months, you might focus on some different things. And so it really is, you don't know what you don't know. And you have to ask. And I think just like you would try out maybe a couple different dentists or a couple different chiropractors before you decide which one you want to use, you might try out a couple different business coaches that might, because you want to see if they're going to focus you into one thing or if they're going to be broad. I mean, honestly, we don't want someone so broad that they still don't give you focus and direction. Right. But we want someone who really looks at everything that you're doing. And there's not a lot of people that do that. And in this space. And in order to be able to tell somebody which direction I think they should focus on or what next step they need and advise them on whether it's me or somebody else, hey, you need a mindset coach right now, and then come back to me, right? Or, hey, you need this right now, I think, before you see me. I will totally do that but I have to see what all you're doing and where you're at and goals and how you're making money. And if you're okay with money, some people have money, some people, and that's one reason why they don't care about making money and they're undervaluing is because they're comfortable with money.
Right.
So, but
But I think there's a couple things you said in that even while the question can be difficult, because I think, I talk to people about knowing your present value, your future value, your opportunity cost, but it all comes down to setting the targets and goals for where you're at and what you need. And I think it begs the question around, and you've alluded to this in some of what you've said, is being able to take that inventory or holding up the mirror to say, where am I right now? Where am I in relation to, am I comfortable with money? And am I not feeling that drive, that urge? So I'm just looking to create something that, is kind of a nice secondary, whatever. Or is it, I really need to generate cash? And that is my biggest priority. I think it comes down to identifying, one, being honest with yourself around what is the reality of your money, current money situation, both from your need number, your want number, what's really happening inside that space. Because I find people show up who are not being fully honest and truthful with themselves about where they're bleeding or hemorrhaging money out. Because what they don't measure, what they don't look at, they have no access to, so that they only look at the little space that feels fluffy and nice, and they don't want to address the fact that they've got $40,000 in credit card debt that's still sitting out there. So I think there is an honesty around, where is the money going? Where does the money need to go? The hemorrhaging spots, and then setting the priorities and goals for what's important to you, because I think that's the part that changes for every person. And I'm curious, as you help people, because I know that's one of the things you do in terms of helping people identify their value, is to acknowledge kind of their reality.
Yeah.
How do you help people do that? How do you help people maybe have that moment of truth to say, where are you really at? And to kind of like peel that back and say, okay, I'm here to love you through that, but we got to get honest first.
Right. And it comes with, they have to trust, obviously. A lot of people are hesitant to trust new people. So it might take a little bit of time, depending on how easily they can trust or if they've been burned before. But everything I do is totally confidential. And my goal is to help someone make a lot more money doing what they love, to live a happier life for themselves, whatever that means to them. And that's the intent, right, of these questions that might go really deep. Like, is your husband really supportive? Do you really value yourself? Are you taking care of yourself? Where's your money situation right now? Where are you guys? Because exactly, like, do you have $2,000 coming in? Do you have $10,000 coming in? What are your bills? What are your this? What do you stress about at night? Because I go that deep with people, because I have to, because they will give me the wrong surface answer if I just say, how much do you want to make every month? And they'll say, well, I had 80,000 in my company when I left, so I kind of want to make 80,000. But I'm sorry, when you had a job, they took out taxes, so your take home was still only about, I don't even know what that number is right now, but it was a lot less than 80,000 divided by 12. Okay. So is that enough? I don't know. Were you comfortable? But it's these are the hard questions. I get it. And this is why a lot of entrepreneurs are stuck, because they don't know which thing to do first or what order of importance. And this is why you need a business coach. And I'm not just saying that because I am one.
Right.
And that's not what I'm saying. I don't care if you come to me or go to somebody else, but you got to figure this stuff out. You've got to get this help early on, right? And get some of this reality check going.
Yeah. And I echo that. I tell people constantly, I'm like, look, whether you work with me or not is completely irrelevant. I'm looking at how you're going to forward your own game in a way that's going to serve and open up access so that you can create more of a lifestyle of what you want. And it is, because there's some people like, Candy, you scare me. The questions are too bad. And I'm like, I get that. And you're probably not ready for that level yet. And like you, I would then have them focus on somebody else who might help them get what momentum they need at that point. Because we're not for everybody. And it's not about that. But I mean, even as coaches ourselves, we have business coaches. I absolutely am very clear that while I can be brilliant with somebody else and can come up with strategies and systems, I'm also really good at negotiating with myself why I don't need to play in that space. And I need somebody that's going to hold my feet to the fire and get me to be very honest with myself. Because there's times that even when the numbers are in front of me, I will make justifications around why this happened or why this month looked this way and why. And I need somebody that's like, yes, and I hear you saying this, Barone, and I see this is what's happening in your business. So tell me how those two things connect, because they don't. And so you need people that can hold you in a space so that you're looking at the reality in the mirror. Because if you're not willing to ask the big questions, you're not willing to move your business forward. I really stand firm in that philosophy.
And if you are only doing like home study programs and do-it-yourself trainings and in membership programs where you're not having a dialogue with somebody like this one-on-one, granted, some smaller groups where you get some attention and hot seats are good. Don't get me wrong. I do them myself. But it's the one-on-one type interaction with the right people that are going to make you aware of this stuff. It's not the home study program necessarily. Now that doesn't mean you don't buy those. Right. It's just
because they can supplement things.
Yes, they can totally supplement. But be clear on what it is you need. If you need focus, direction, and the big picture and the plan, you're not going to get that from a couple of audios, right? Because it's not going to be geared to you. It's going to be geared to the general population of that person's target audience. And it's not going to be taking into account your family situation, your lifestyle needs, your need number, your personal time commitment availability. It's not going to take in all those factors to be able to tell you exactly. You're going to be like, oh, well, this person said this. So it's like, did they really say that to you, or did you just listen to some audio that they did? Right? Because there's nothing like the one-on-one. That doesn't mean you have to do it forever, but in the beginning or whenever you're getting to that next level and you need to go to a next level, you need some input from maybe one or two or three different people to get those different ideas and then figure out which one is the right path for you.
Yeah, and I would agree. I mean, that's why one-on-one coaching, really interactive masterminds, those are very powerful. And I know both Katrina and I play in, actually we play in some together. We play in those spaces because we need to have that constant challenge and pushback. And you know, I've been very clear to tell people before that if the people in your inner circle, if the people that are who you're spending the most time with are all your yes people, if they're constantly just nodding your head, if they're either just the naysayers, which those most of the time we just push out, but if they're the people like, God, I love you, Katrina, everything you do is great, yes, yes, and yes, they're not serving you. You need the people that are going to call your BS. You need the people that are going to hold your feet to the fire. You need the people that are going to help you see bigger than the forest you're looking at. Because I don't care how big of a thinker you can be, we can never think past what's right in front of us for ourselves. It's why coaches don't coach themselves. I could never coach myself. It's not possible. I can't see for myself what I can see for everyone else. And I'm very clear about that. I can't see another option when all I'm focused on is this is the way to get to whatever. And so I think people need to understand that you can't do what you do. Even if you are a coach, even if you're out there providing strategy for others, you probably need that person to help you do that for yourself.
Yeah, and the older I get, the more I need someone more like me too.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
one,
Yeah.
tell it like it is, but with love,
Yes.
solutions and questions and things like
Yes.
that. And I just recently had 2 little spot coaching sessions with people that were right on, spot on with identifying some holes and opportunities for me and my business. And I'm like, that's a good idea. And I really appreciate you pointing that out, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't see it.
Yeah.
So it's so important.
Yeah, I'm very clear. I tell people all the time, I'm like, look, I need, and I'm not saying this to say, oh, I'm the greatest, whatever. I just know how I'm wired. I'm like, I need somebody to do what I do with clients. The way I whiteboard on because I think, and there's people that, whether you're introverted or extroverted, it's how you process information. It's not how you engage with people. I know there's a misconception around that. And I tend to be, I can swing in both spaces. I can be very extroverted in terms of, but how I process information, especially my ideas, I'm a very visual person. I need to speak it out loud and just almost vomit my words. And I need somebody that can synthesize that and create a picture that I'm like, oh my God, there it is, brilliant. I need someone that can do that, because that's what I do for my clients. I take a lot of this stuff that's moving and synthesize it down into something that gives them direction. I need the same thing for me. Now, that's not to say that someone else doesn't need a different approach and a different style to how they synthesize and process their information. So to what Katrina's saying is, you have to really understand how you are wired and your way that you process. Are you someone that is much more introverted in that space that needs to have more internal access? Or are you someone who is a person that puts it out? And I tell people, look, I deal with a lot of type A, highly driven, very verbose individuals tend to be a lot of my ideal client, because it looks a lot like how I'm wired, what I do. And there's already a language I understand and can appreciate. Not to say I don't work with other people, but we tend to attract people that get the way we think, because you have that ability to build that trust that you were talking about before, that when you're bringing somebody new on board, you got to establish that thread of trust like immediately in order to help people get some of that momentum. And so I absolutely agree with that.
You know, what's funny is you attract all the action, high energy extroverts. Honestly, I would love more of those types of people, because they just take action, right? And we make quick decisions. We take quick action. Money follows speed, people. Money follows speed. So you can't just loll around and go, la, 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 let me think on it. Let me sleep on it for 14 nights and decide if, I'm meant to do this. Let me listen to my inner calling or whatever. And that's fine. Don't get me wrong. You need to listen to your body and the things that come in, but don't do it as an excuse to postpone the decision that needs to be made on something. And, but I work with a lot of introverts, and I think they are attracted to me because they realize it's the opposite of what they are, and it's really what they need. They need that kick in the pants. I would say most of my clients say, I hired you because I knew you'd kick me in the butt, and and they know they realize they need it. But there's a lot of people that are scared of that. You're right. And
well, it's interesting because a lot more of those have shown up for me. They're like, Candy, you scare me. And I know I need someone to push me because I'm so caught up. And they will be very clear to say, I'm in an analysis paralysis. I can't take action. And I know you're going to help me pull the trigger on something. Because I love, and I'm going to keep quoting you, and I'm going to steal that and say, Katrina says, money follows speed. Because I cannot agree with that more, that any action is better than no action.
Yeah.
I think the most detrimental space people allow themselves to fall into is the minute they say, well, I'm not going to do anything. Because the minute you do that, you hand your power over to everything else that's either a circumstantial condition, an environmental condition, or other people to dictate for you how it's going to happen. And even if you make a decision that's wrong, you can always change it. But you not making a decision is the most powerful decision you can make, because it stops everything. And to what Katrina is saying, it absolutely stops the flow of money to you, because you not making a decision says, I don't value or have any control or levers that I'm pulling that can open up access to create more. And so you do need to know that action creates that ability for money to follow speed. And it's sit with things, make sure that you're making the right choices, and take action. Any action is better than none.
Yeah. And even I had a client recently, a new client who discovered, and I see this all the time, and if I could just like put this into, this is a benefit of investing in yourself, and have people believe it 100%, but they don't always believe it, right. Is that as soon as she said yes to committing, and now she didn't even sign up for my high-end mastermind or 6-month coaching. It was like 3 calls. That's all I could get her to commit to, because I knew that I could help her. I'm like, just give me 3 hours of your time. Come on, do it. And she was so scared to invest the money in the 3 hours. And I said, you're going to do it, right? You're committing to 3 calls. She said, yes. We got off the phone, like not less than like 3 hours later, she Facebook messages me and said, oh my God, so-and-so called me and they want to hire me for da-da-da-da. And granted, it was only like $10 an hour or whatever it was, right? We hadn't established her rate and all that yet, but we hadn't even started. But because she committed to something, right, to get her jump started, money, boom, right there. And I said, yep.
Money needs to move, right? The more money I spend, the more money I receive. And money is energy. It needs to be emotion. And we need to not hoard it in and think, oh my God, I got to protect it all and I can't do this. When you make the investments to say, I'm doing this because, and there's a reason to step forward in something, it's amazing what opens up.
When I was way like hurting to pay my bills, like seriously, it was probably 10 years ago that I remember sitting in my office floor, my fuzzy office, floor and the carpet. I had all my bills laid out around me, and I was literally crying because I couldn't pay them all, and I didn't know which one not to pay, because I'd always paid my bills. I mean, the bill comes in, boop, it's right on my desk. I write it, and I do paper bills still because I'm weird like that. But as soon as the bill comes in, I would pay it. And I was to the point to where I would pay them almost a little bit late, or I'd postpone a little bit or whatever. And it was so bad one time that I couldn't pay all the bills, and it was devastating. And now I forgot what point I was going to make with that.
It happens.
What was I saying? But Corona was a really good point too.
Hey, it'll come back, because we were talking about people that making that decision, right? Taking that risk, taking that opportunity to know that when you're investing, something shows back for you.
I know what it was.
See? There you go.
Sorry.
It happens, people. It happens. This is real. These really conversations.
Okay. So I donate to things like the SPCA, the animal shelters, and breast cancer funds, and they've got me on mailing lists now, right? So I've got all this stuff in the mail. And so I put them with my bills, and I paid what I can when I can. But when I was really hurting, I felt like I couldn't pay them, but it was just giving them $5 or $10. Even just giving them $5 or $10 when I didn't have enough to pay my bills was huge, you guys, because $5 or $10 can buy a good amount of groceries at the grocery store, honestly. But still giving something that I didn't have to give, and donating or whatever it was, or donating to a charity or something, or giving a $10 bill at an event or a networking event when I didn't have that $10, right? Those kinds of little actions I kept doing throughout the time, even when money was tight. I didn't just hoard it all, like you said. That's really what.
Well, and because that tithing, right, whether it's time, money, energy, whatever it is, it's that space of putting out into it's a law of reciprocity. It's a law of compensation. It just works. And so you're doing it without an expectation something comes back. You're doing it to say, I'm not fearful that more is coming.
Right.
And so opens up access for you to, and for some people, I know that that's a challenge, but take that on and try that. Let that be where you give a little, even if it's $1, even if it's $5, you'd be surprised how that keeps the flow of money moving in a way so that you're not saying, I can't, it's not available. I'm being in a scarcity mentality. I realize more is coming my way, and I trust, and I'm open. And it's amazing how when you put out one, tenfold comes back. It's just, it happens every time.
And I tell people, stop making decisions by your checkbook. Here's my checkbook, right? People will look in their checkbook and they'll go, nope, can't do it, right? And they'll make decisions by what's in the checkbook, not by what's available to make. I mean, you can make money today. You could go talk to somebody who needs your services and boop, they pay you $100 or $300 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You can make money today as an entrepreneur.
Right.
You can make money tomorrow. You can make money the next day. You can make money every day if you know how to make money and get clear on what you're selling and who it's for. That is the key. That is the key to really being successful in that profitable, sustainable business that we were talking about. But stop looking at your checkbook to make decisions, because it's not about what's in there. It's about what's out there and what you can make.
Yep. And I love that. And I love it. So plays into, there's a quote from Grant Cardone that I love, that he's always like, look, it's not about whether or not you have the money. It's about who has my money. Yeah. When you are looking forward and you're thinking, he's like, all you do is you ask the question, you sit out there like, who has my money?
Who has my money?
Money is constantly moving around us, and it's constantly changing hands. And I also love that I saw once that they say, take a dollar bill and really look at just a dollar bill, and look at that dollar bill and think about every person who's touched that dollar bill. And think about, I love that. Look at how crisp and beautiful that is. And I want you to really look at that and think about the power of that. Think about how many hands that's exchanged since Katrina has held that dollar. She is not the first person that's touched that.
We should tick it. Everybody should tick.
Yes, and then think about how many more hands will touch it. Oh my God, how amazing is that $1 bill can move into so many different spaces. It's about who has your money. It's not, and I love that. Do not live by your checkbook. Live by the fact that you have the power right here, right now, getting off this podcast to go make money. And by the way, it means get off your butt, make the phone call, stop waiting and hiding behind your internet to do everything. Man, the power of this, of making a phone call to say, hey, haven't talked to you in a while, I got a new program. All it takes is making the ask. So you might get 5 no's, the 6th one might be yes. Mm-hmm. How much are you willing to step out into your uncomfortable and say yes to yourself, to say, I trust, I know, I have a product. And then I was listening to Joe Vitale as I was driving back this week, and he said, look, your services and products are nothing more than an opportunity for you to share your love, your passion, and your heart with the people that want to receive it. And I was like, oh, how do you not want to step in a space to say, for every moment you're not sharing your brilliance, your value with other people, there's someone not benefiting. There's someone you're not serving. So get out of your head and go realize there's someone that needs you now, and go find that person and bring that money in. It's just that simple. It really is that simple when you get out of all the head trash and the monkey mind.
And mic drop. That is a climactic.
Mic drop. I love it. Oh my God. I love you. Oh my God, I told you she's a powerhouse. So before I forget, because we are getting close on our time, and oh my gosh, I so love playing with you. You got to come back. We got to just do this some more. Powerhouse all the way. How do people get a hold of you? I know you got some new things going on. What's the best way for them to reach out and learn more about what you have going on, how they can connect with you, how they can get the kick in the butt with some love if they need it?
There are so many ways to start, right? So there's going to be the people that just want to try me out, dip their toe in and find some kind of free gift. So you guys can go to jumpstartgift.com. Nice. Jumpstart Gift. There's actually a bunch of different free gifts on that page, including my need number checklist, my need number worksheet. So awesome. You want to go check out the need number worksheet. It's free, and you can work through that. And there's a video that talks to you about how to do that. But there's a bunch of other free gifts there too, like an audio that goes with my book, Love Yourself Successful.
Okay, I lost you. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Yep.
Wasn't sure if we got cut off.
We did. We had a quick freeze. That's okay.
Okay. So jumpstartgift.com is a bunch of free stuff. If you're ready to take some action, then I would suggest coming to a live event. I do about 4 events a year usually. You can go to livebigevents.com, livebigevents.com, awesome. And it'll tell you which events are coming up. And there's also like online events too, so you don't have to come live. There's some Zoom events like this where I do like hot seat coaching calls that are actually very reasonably priced for someone to try me out. that's really where you want to start. I mean, those kinds of
and all of those links will be below in the notes. So we will have availability so you can get access to all that. I would also suggest that you follow Katrina out on social media. She's always putting amazing tools, techniques, strategies, information, opportunities for you to get engaged. Find out more what she's doing. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you check out the work that she does. She is a freaking powerhouse. I mean that legitimately. I've known her for quite a while. Like I said, we play in some spaces together, and it is truly an honor to have her hold me accountable in some spaces and call my BS. So just love her. And she really can help you get some massive momentum and monetize your business in a big and powerful way. So go check her out. And as we're wrapping things up, first, let me just say my deepest heartfelt thanks for you joining me. You know I adore you, and just so glad and excited. And I'm all amped up now because we just have this way that we like to raise the energy. So thank you for being here, first and foremost.
Of course. I love it.
Yay. And as we're closing things out, if you had kind of a takeaway or a leave behind or a last thing you would like people to think about, consider, whatever it might be, what would that be?
Yeah, a couple times you alluded to this, and I haven't said it yet, but one of the things I really like to help people start believing is that it will all work out in the end. So you have to trust and have faith that you know what you're doing, you're meant to do this work, and that it'll all work itself out in the end. You take a couple steps, maybe you take a wrong step, it's okay, you just course correct because it'll all work out in the end. You invest money or time in something, you know it's going to work out because it'll all work out in the end. And you just have to believe that. I don't know how I had so much faith in my business and myself in the beginning. I mean, because I wasn't told I couldn't do something as a kid. So I was very fortunate not to have a lot of negative self-talk around me when I was a kid. And some people do. And you have to get through that and break through that kind of head trash. But you have to get to a space to where you fully 100% believe it'll all work out in the end. No plan B. This is what I'm meant to do. I just have to figure out the path along the way and how it evolves. That is when peace comes. That is when consistent, sustainable business revenue comes. That's when it really is clear and you're completely confident.
Yeah. And I would agree. I could not emphasize that more. It will all work out in the end. And it is about being committed to plan A. I know so many times people have plan B, and I'm going to tell you, if you have plan B, then plan B is going to be what happens. And so it is about trusting and knowing and getting into that space to truly say yes to yourself.
Yep.
As we've talked about many times, everything starts with you getting so crystal clear and saying yes to yourself so that you can take the steps to destroy whatever noise, to do whatever work needs to be done so that you can truly be profitable and create a sustainable business that allows your business to make money for you so that you can live the lifestyle you want. And I truly, truly cannot agree or thank Katrina enough for sharing her wisdom, sharing her insight. And I hope all of you will take the invitation to say yes to yourself, to get very honest, get very clear on where you're at, take the opportunity to do her assessment around your need number and start to ask the bigger questions. Because for you to step out, stand in your gift, to have that passion and purpose, you really need to be in a place to know that leadership is a choice. And it's all about how you choose to show up, how you choose to serve, and how you choose to take personal responsibility inside that space. And again, it starts with you saying yes to yourself first. So with that, this is Candy. Thank you all for joining us today on the Powerhouse Podcast. We are so honored and delighted to have you as part of our community. Please, we continue to want to serve you in higher ways. So let us know what you think. Subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. And please leave your comments about the show. We will catch up with you next time. Take care, everyone.